Look at this camera and tell me if my head is cut off. Just look, just stand right there and look, or you could see. Okay. Hey you guys, this is Jessica. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be telling you guys how I got my first real estate listing. So before I get started, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel because I give out some bomb of real estate advice, real estate tips, the real behind real estate, because what y'all see on HGTV and Selling Tampa and all that other stuff is a I don't want to say a facade, because as soon as you say that, people are going to say, oh, you're just hating because you're not on the show. I give the real, like the stuff that they don't show you on TV. So anyway, today I'm going to be talking about how I got my first listing. Again, before we get started, if you have not yet, hit the thumbs up button. I'm going to give you a second to do that. And I'm going to give you another second to go ahead and subscribe. Let's go. So, for those of you who are new here, I'm a licensed real estate agent. Go watch my video about that process, because I think that was probably like the highlight of my life, getting my license. But I wanted to tell you guys this story because I get a lot of people that are asking me about real estate and how to get started. And I think that sharing how I got my first listing is going to kind of set this tone for how to navigate your real estate career if you're deciding to be a listing agent like how I am. I did join a team when I first joined my brokerage, and my team gives me leads. If you're not familiar with that, we'll talk about it in another video. But basically, leads are people who are interested in buying or selling. So you'll get a phone number, you'll get an address, or what have you like that. So I was calling the leads because I had a buyer who was pre-approved. It was so hard finding him a home because his budget, they only pre-approved him for $75,000 as a VA loan. Crazy. That was my first buyer though. $75,000 VA loan. I was going through the leads, and most of the homes that people were looking to sell were like $200,000, $300,000, and I was like, this ain't it. So I said, let me go on Zillow. Now, if you're not familiar with Zillow, as a real estate agent, Zillow may seem like the devil unless you actually work for Zillow. But for me, because I was new, I'm just like, beforehand when I was looking for houses, when it was time for me to move, I went and looked on Zillow. So I was like, let me see if I can find something on Zillow that may be in his price range. And I came across a home that was in my area because he was looking for something around this area, and it was for sale by owner. Now, this particular week, my team and I have been going really heavy on for sale by owners. So I was like, I wonder why they're selling their home. Let me just call them and see. And so when I called them, first of all, I was shocked because they were very open to speaking with me over the phone. Come by, I'm going to give you a CMA. It's no pressure or what have you. And he's like, well, somebody already bought us that. This is the husband, because he's a tough cookie. He's like, well, somebody already bought us that. What are you going to do differently that they're not trying to do or that they're not offering us? Like I said, I just want you to know the true value of your home. So I'm just going to bring that by. Keyword, bring that by. Not email it to you, not drop it off. I'm going to bring it by. That very same day, they were like, yeah, sure, you can come by. And I was like, oh. Now me, again, I'm like fresh in real estate. I don't think it had been a whole month yet. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna let me come by their house. Had no idea how to do a full-blown listing presentation, even though it was in our job. Like, my team really has everything that we need. But me being so nervous, I was just like, you know what? I don't have time. I'm just gonna go by. I got the listing papers. I know how to talk really well, so I'm gonna rely on that to get me through. Side note, don't ever do that. If you are a new agent, please study your listing presentation. Please study the comps. I did study the comps. Now, I did pull the comps because of course, when you're doing a CMA, part of that is pulling the comps. So I did pull the comps. I did study the neighborhood a little bit, but it was kind of difficult because a lot of the houses were custom built, and this house was custom built as well. But I was like, you know what, God, we got this. Let's go. Y'all, I was so happy to show up to those people's houses. I was nervous at the same time, but I was happy. And I went there, and it was an elderly white couple. And, I was a little nervous because in real estate, sometimes, when you're working with the general public, your color can have an impact on whether or not people are going to work with you. And I know it's 2022, but at the end of the day, like, racism still exists in the industry. Y'all seen them headlines about how real estate agents getting killed showing homes because people thought they were breaking in. Like, it's crazy. But anyway, they were very welcoming. They were very welcoming, even though they had that little MAGA hat sitting in the dining room table. They were welcoming. They were very nice. And so it was a husband and a wife, and they were elderly, probably like in their late 80s, mid 80s. So we were just talking, and I was giving them the CMA, and the husband, he wasn't feeling it. He was just like, I need to know how much commission you're going to charge. I need to know what I'm going to walk away with. Side note, make sure you get the motivation. The motivation is, why are they selling? At the end of the day, these people were building a new home in another state. They had built it from the ground up, cash on a couple of acres. So my thoughts was that money was not really a big deal for them. Bad assumption. This man wanted to make sure that he got every bit of about $600,000 for this house. It wasn't even worth that. But at the end of the day, we were able to come up with a number that was satisfying for him until I put in my commission. And he was like, well, you know, I don't know about that. I could just sell it myself. And the wife was like, people have been calling us so much. We just stopped answering the phone because they had listed their house for sale by owner on Zillow. And when you do that, people are going to call. Investors are going to call you. Your name goes into a database. Like, you're going to get calls left and right from everybody and their mama going to call you, right? Especially agents who are trying to get you to allow them to be the ones to list and sell your house. The wife was flustered. She was overwhelmed. The husband was like, we can do it. We got it. We really don't need no help. We just trying to see what you wanted to tell us and if it was a good deal. At the end of the day, they did not let me list their house. So I left. But one of the most important things that I did was I kept in contact with them. I called those people every single week. Like, literally, hey, how you doing? Just calling to check on you. Just making sure you don't need anything. And another thing that I did was I never kept asking them for the sale. People want to know that you genuinely care about them. And even if they didn't let me list their house, I really just wanted to call them to see how things were going. Because I know when you're, you know, elderly and you're trying to sell your house, people can try to take advantage of you. But these people are smart. They are very witty. They're very smart. They're on top of their stuff. And the wife kind of took a liking to me. And I was like, okay. The reason why I kept calling them was because I wanted to get updates on the home that they were building. So every time I called, I'd be like, well, how's it going down there? She's like, oh, they're doing this to the house, and oh, they're doing that for the house. And the reason why you ask those questions is because you have something to go off of when you call them again. So every time I would call, I'm like, oh, so did they ever deliver the windows? How are the papers going? These are things that you want to make sure that you throw out to people who you are trying to nurture when you're trying to get the listing. So long story short, I called them in December just to say, hey, how you doing? It's my regular wake up call. And she said, I think we're ready to list. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, you know, our house is almost done being built. She's like, we want to work with you. So many realtors have been calling us, and we've already told them that we've been working with people. And I was so shocked because she was literally telling people that had kept calling her that she had already had an agent, and I didn't even know it. So that's how I ended up getting my very first listing. Now, I will say it has been a journey because I started nurturing them in July. They did not list their home until the beginning of December. So for those of you out there who are considering a career in real estate, understand that sometimes you're going to have to nurture long term. I know people who have been nurturing people for 2 years. But eventually they came back and they allowed them to list their home. So don't get discouraged. Make sure that you stay in touch. Make sure you build your database. Always reach out to people. Also, make sure that you click the subscribe button if you had not yet. And make sure you like this video. But most importantly, understand that real estate is about building relationships. I was able to build a relationship with them. Therefore, they trusted me. And that's the reason why they allowed me to list their house. And that's how I got my very first listing. It took a couple of months. Don't get me wrong. It was some stuff that happened in between, and I was about to say, you know what, this ain't it. But I had to keep going, and because I kept going, I was able to land the listing. And I hope that somebody is watching this and it encourages you to just keep going, and the fortune is in the follow-up. That's where all your money is, following up. So again, my name is Jessica. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you soon.